Good morning. As I say, my name is Ray Hunt. I'm a 2016 Nuffield scholar, and as Mary said, my topic is on future genetic trends in dairying. As Mary already said, I'm from Cashel in County Tipperary, and I'm a dairy and beef farmer and also work with Munster Cattle Breeding Group. I suppose one of the things that I learned along the way is the benefits from my travels, and I wanted to make sure that I knew this before I went on my travels and had a goal for my return. I suppose, are we on the right path with our breeding goals? Is there traits we need to add or subtract? Is there other things we need to put into our EBI index? New technologies. What new technologies are on the horizon that can help genetics? What do I see as one of the new cutting-edge technologies into the future? And what are my key findings? These are the countries in which I travel to. As part of my global focus, I traveled to Singapore, India, Qatar, Turkey, France and USA. I also travelled to Australia, New Zealand and UK as part of my own private study tour. I suppose one country that really took relevance to me whilst I was there was India. With a population of 1.3 billion, it was just really hard for me to get my head around it. 1.3 billion people living in India. And me coming from a country with 4.5 million, it just mesmerises me every time I think about it. And just seeing that population, how the whole thing works. It's got a massive dairy industry with over 200 million dairy cows. It's actually the fastest growing dairy industry in the world right now. I suppose just to give you an idea about India and how it works, I suppose one thing for sure is religion is very important in India. And 80% of the population are actually of the Hindu religion. And they believe that the cow is sacred. And by this, they mean that the cow must be maintained and fed throughout her lifetime and must not ever be slaughtered. She must die on the farm of natural causes. The indigenous breed is called the milking zebu, and she reaches maturity at 3.5 years of age. I suppose with an average herd size of 3 cows in India, it was amazing to find out that they had to maintain a cow. If she's not making them any money or if she's not going in calf, she's not profitable. They still have to maintain this cow. So I related this back to my own research in Ireland and just reaffirmed my view of the importance of fertility. And obviously in Ireland, if we had to keep every cow that was maintained throughout the herd in Ireland without going to slaughter, imagine how many cows we'd have then. So just a bit of reflection on our index post-travels and a little bit about our database here in Ireland. I suppose one thing that came to me everywhere I went, and I spoke to them about the database that we have in Ireland from the Irish Cattle Breeding Federation. People were very jealous of the information that we're getting back and how the whole thing works and all the information coming in from all the different industries. I suppose, but with everything, there's always room for improvement. And with only 50% of the cows being milk recorded, and shockingly, only 35% of herds being milk recorded in Ireland. I compared this to New Zealand when I was there, where 65% of herds were being milk recorded. A lot more information coming into the database. This is something we can improve on. Health and disease, cow and heifer live weights, temperament and milking speed, and also pregnancy results. These are all things that we can start to work upon, that we can get more information into databases to make it more accurate going forward. Another thing I learned when I came back from my travels was that there's a new index coming out called Cow's Own Worth, COW, cow. This is a new index which has been developed by Dr. Mags Kelleher in ICBF. It identifies the poor performers within your herd. With this, I think farmers will record more information, because if you record, for instance, mastitis or lameness, this will penalise that cow into the future. Or if she's a late calving cow, it'll penalise her. So with this in mind, it identifies the poor performers. And if you record that information, farmers will see the value and record more information, and the cow's own worth will actually be of relevance to you at the end of the year when you're going to cull cows. This is the database. This, I suppose, just a full map of it. It just mesmerised me how much information and how it all works. Information coming in from AI companies, the Department of Agriculture, marts, meat factories, Teagasc, and most importantly, the farmers themselves. At the moment, the database has 30 million animals on the database with over 100 million records. I suppose just a little bit about our own breeding index here in Ireland, the EBI, the Economic Breeding Index. I suppose for any trait to be included in an index, it must be important economically, socially, environmentally. It must be heritable, and it must be measurable under a large number of animals. As you can see, I've taken a snippet of what is some of the traits that's within the EBI. You can see there that production is making up 32% of the EBI, and that's coming from both milk, fat, and protein. We can also see that fertility is the biggest factor within the EBI at 35%. And just something I'm going to go into a little bit later is health, and that's making up 4% of the index. The question I'm often asked when I go to farms, when I'm working in my day job with Munster Cattle Breeding Group, is the EBI delivering for farmers? And yes, it is. It's delivering €1.96 in profit. This was carried out by Teagasc in 2016. Over 10,500 profit monitors were taken into account. And for each EBI, it was delivering €1.96 in profit. So does genetics work? And you can see here that the EBI has made some massive gains. From its establishment in 2002 and from when genomics started in 2009, we've seen some huge gains. That gains have actually doubled since genomics has been implemented. You can also see that we've made good inroads on milk index and great inroads on the fertility index. Fertility. We've made dramatic improvements in fertility since the establishment of the EBI. Have we done enough? Is there more we can do? Definitely yes, there's a lot more that we can do. We need to get the calving interval down to 365 days. Every cow must have a calf per year. At the moment, we're at about 392 days, and there's obviously a lot more work we can do here. 6-week calving rate at the moment is at 57%, and again, there's a lot more work we can do here to get it up to a level which at the top 5% of the herds at the moment is at 85%. I was actually amazed to find out that the average amount of heifers that calve down between 22 and 26 months is only at 56%. We need to get this up to 100%. Health. I suppose health is, as I say, a small part of the index, but it has a huge benefit for us going forward. The modern Irish dairy cow is an incredible animal, extremely effective at converting grass to milk solids. But just like top athletes, cows must be in great health to have optimum performance. Everybody knows prevention is better than cure, and this is where genetics can play a key role. Unfortunately, at the moment, the reliability of the information within the health index is low. This is due to the fact of low recording on farm, from a health point of view, for example, with mastitis and lameness. I suppose I see that this will become of more value to farmers going forward. When I spoke to Donald Berry in Teagasc Moor Park about it, he told me that the trait would actually become stronger within the EBI, provided more information was put into the database. One line I learned while I was on my travels, and I heard it a large number of times, was genetics creates the potential, management realises it, and disease destroys it. This is something we must remember. New technologies. So this is, I suppose, the exciting side of it. What new technologies are out there? Sex semen, has it a place in the Irish industry? Gene editing and CRISPR technology. Really cutting edge kind of stuff here with the gene editing and CRISPR. Crossbreeding, again, it's not new, but it is new to some. Short gestation beef, polled, feed intake and efficiency. Milk recording, again, not new, but it is still new to some, with only 35% of herds recording at the moment. Sex semen has seen some major developments, and we have had a trial here in Ireland in 2013, which gave some variable results. But while I was on my travels, I learned that in New Zealand, they did a fresh sex semen trial, which had 97% conception rate to conventional semen. So with this in mind, I think it's time for Ireland to look at doing another sex semen trial. If we can get comparable results with sex semen to conventional semen on conception rate, it definitely has a role to play. But we also must be careful. Sex semen has its ups and downs. I know myself from working with a cattle breeding company, I hate getting that phone call to say farmers after getting on poorly with sex semen. On the other hand, there are guys that have gone very well with it in the past. But we must trial it again. The technology has improved, so let's not be left behind with this one. Gene editing and CRISPR technology. Simply, genetic editing and CRISPR has the same outcome as traditional breeding, but can be a lot faster. I suppose, just for one example, with the pole, I suppose, would be the easiest one to talk about, is with the Aberdeen Angus breed. They're a naturally pole breed. And with CRISPR technology, we can identify the gene that makes them naturally poled. We can then genetic edit that gene in all other breeds, such as Holstein Friesian, Charolais, etc. So this has huge implications. I suppose at the moment, it's at EU policy level, and it is being trialled in the USA. But if we do get the go-ahead from an EU policy level, I think that Ireland must get off their feet quick and be a part of this, because it definitely has a role to play. I suppose the question is, I ask myself, is it too good to be true? Or this is where we need to get trials done in place. We need to be careful. We have our green image here in Ireland. We're selling 90% of our product abroad. So we need to be careful and make sure this is trialled correctly. Crossbreeding. Has crossbreeding a role to play? Should we all be crossbreeding? I'm often asked again by farmers, is it a route that they should go? I suppose we've seen some massive gains, as you've seen earlier, with the EBI, and especially with the Holstein Friesian breed. Unfortunately, other breeds haven't had the same gains. We need to get more information on other breeds, on their genomics. And the only way we can do that is by sharing information with other countries. We need a reference population of at least 4,000 cows or 1,000 bulls from another breed, for example, Jersey, so that we can go crossbreeding. As you can see in this pie chart, the AI usage from 16 to 17, the majority is still 92% Holstein Friesian. But we can see there has been a slight gain in the Jersey, with 1% lift in the Jersey usage in Ireland. My conclusions and recommendations. Fertility is the key driver to profitability. I suppose as any new KT program comes into place, knowledge transfer, in case you're not aware, we must make sure that recording information onto the database, the ICBF database, is part of it. This will have huge implications. It will make our information a lot more accurate going forward. For instance, sire information, health traits, milk recording, etc. Gene editing and CRISPR technology have a huge role to play if we get the go-ahead from the EU policy level. I've talked to many people, and while I was in Australia, I met with the CSIRO, and they told me that this could be as big as AI when it started off. Sex fresh semen, it looks like it could have a role to play. We need to get this trial going and get the go-ahead now and drive on with this and get a trial going ahead with fresh sex semen, if we can get the same conception rates as conventional or near similar. Crossbreeding is a viable option, especially if we can get breeds of similar value on EBI. If the Jersey and the Holstein Friesian breed, for example, had the same EBI figure, we could get massive jumps in the EBI with the usage of heterosis. We must get more sharing of genomic data from other countries so that we can get genomic information here in Ireland and other breeds. Thank you very much. I'd really like to thank the sponsors for all their help and support. It's been a great journey. I've really enjoyed it. I'd like to thank Nuffield Ireland for their help, and I'd really like to thank John Terrell and my mentor, Catherine Leskretz, for all their help and their patience. They've been very patient with me throughout the 2 years. I'd like to thank my family and friends and my workplace, And I'd especially like to thank my girlfriend Veronica for all her help and support. She's put up with a lot over the last 2 years and has been dragged around every country and every farmyard all over the world, so fair play to her. Thank you very much.